Welcome to Hilary Topper on Air, the podcast you can't afford to miss.
Hey, this is Hilary Topper here, and this is a special edition of Hilary Topper on Air. Today, I'm going to be interviewed by Lisa Gordon, who's the Executive Vice President of HJMT and one of my favorite people in the whole wide world.
Aw.
Uh, Lisa, Lisa's going to interview me on a new book that I wrote called Branding in a Digital World: How to Take an Integrated Marketing Approach to Building a Business. And I just had it published about a week ago. And it's really exciting. And without further ado, I'm going to hand this over to Lisa Gordon.
So, Hill, congratulations on finishing your second book. I
Thank
know
you.
it took a lot of work. So how does it feel?
It feels like a weight's been lifted off of my shoulder. It actually feels like I did an Ironman triathlon. That's exactly what it felt like. I mean, and I never even did an Ironman triathlon, but if I did, that's exactly how it would feel. Just went through so much to get it to this point.
So, I guess why don't you tell our listeners what made you want to write this book? And maybe you could include, because we don't talk about it very often, but just your background too on, in public relations and social media and marketing. So, first, what made you want to write the book?
Well, the first book that I wrote, Everything You Ever Wanted to Know About Social Media But Were Afraid to Ask, Building Your Business Using Consumer Generated Media, which is a mouthful in itself. I wrote that book in 2009. It was the beginning of 2009, and it was just when social media was becoming popular, but not everybody was using it. And at that time, I saw that there was definitely something that was going to be big, that was going to take place, that was going to, that was going to help in terms of marketing somebody's business. So that's why I wrote that book. And since then, it's been 10 years, and I've been through the last 10 years, I've been thinking, I'm going to rewrite this book because now it's outdated. But instead of that, I decided that I'm going to write a new book, Branding in a Digital World. Now, what this book does that's very different than Everything You Ever Wanted to Know About Social Media is that it includes social media, but also takes an integrated marketing approach to taking somebody's business and becoming like a purple cow, like Seth Godin's Purple Cow, where you would stand out among the competition. How do you do that? So if somebody is starting a business, this is the perfect book for them. If somebody already has a business but is feeling like they need to really get out there more, they should go out and get a copy of this book because this is going to help them. And I actually took this book is the class that I teach at Hofstra. I actually teach a class on digital marketing at Hofstra, and I include a lot of the elements in this book.
So, talking about like the elements in the book, what do you think the reader, what will stand out to the reader? Like, are there dedicated chapters on certain subjects? Talk to me a little bit about the contents of the book itself.
Sure. So, I mean, I start out the book by giving a little story about my background and how I got into PR. So it was back now. I mean, I'm really dating myself over here, but it was back. It was back in 1979. I was still in high school, and me and two friends saw an article in the New York Post saying that Woody Allen was having a big New Year's Eve bash at the Harkness House in New York City. And at the time, he was with Mia Farrow, and they were inviting everybody. And we loved watching Woody Allen's old movies like Annie Hall and Sleeper, and there was just so many movies that we always watched over and over again, and they just made us hysterical. So we had to meet him, and we saw this article, and we went to the Harkness house, and we told the manager that I was booking a party for my parents' 25th anniversary. So he showed us around, and as he's showing us around, my my husband, who was my boyfriend at the time, is taking notes and making a schematic. And at on New Year's Eve, we dressed up as caterers, as like Donald Bruce White caterers, and we wore black and white. And we told the people that we were there as part of the catering staff, and we knew where the showers were, and we ran downstairs when the coast was clear, and we hid out in the shower room for about 8 hours until we heard, yeah, until we heard the party start. And then at that point, right before the party started, of course, we changed and we left our clothes at the Harkness house so that we'd had proof that, so that people would believe us. And then we go up to the party and we're meeting, we're hanging out with Robin Williams and Karen Kane and all the famous people, Liza Minnelli, all these famous people of that time. And it was such a thrill for us.
Wow.
So that was when I really decided that I wanted to go into PR, because when we got home, we left at midnight. I give Woody Allen a kiss on the cheek. He looks at me like, who the hell is this person? Right? And we left the Harkness house, and we were screaming as we were leaving the house. We were just dancing and screaming. We could not believe we just pulled this off. So at that point, I called up the New York Post and I said, listen, I know you had this article in the paper, and I want to just tell you that we're three teenagers and we just crashed Woody Allen's party. And, of course, they checked it out and they found our clothes. And after that, we got so much media attention. And that was like my big 15 seconds of fame. And after that, I thought, you know what? This is something that I love. I love helping. I love to get publicity. And if I can get publicity for myself, I can get publicity for anybody. And that's when I started working at all these big PR firms like Ogilvy and Mather and Hill Holliday and Reuter Finn. And, I also worked in the nonprofit sector for many, many years, and I got my master's in public administration from Baruch College. And then I decided in 1992, the time was right to start my business. And I started HJMT in 1992. So since then, we've represented all different types of clients. And in terms of branding, I mean, that's what I do every single day. That's what we do every single day, Lisa included, right? So, yeah. So, I also, in addition to, writing this book and running HJMT Public Relations, I also have two blogs. One is New York Lifestyle blog, which is just about everything New York and about traveling around New York. And also food, of course. And shoes, because I love shoes.
Definitely love shoes.
Yeah, it's like a sickness. I don't know. It's just there's something wrong over here. And then my second blog it's called A Triathlete's Diary. And it's about just being everything swim, bike, and run. And I've always been a couch potato. I mean, I think, Lisa, you met me, I was a couch potato. I mean, I never worked out. I never did anything. And it was like not until I was like 48 or 49 that I decided, you know what, I'm almost 50. It's time for me to take hold of my life and make a change. And I started to run, and I did a couple of half marathons. And then at one point, one of my girlfriends at the time said to me, I don't want to run anymore. It's like too much, let's try something different. And I said, what about a triathlon? And we booked a triathlon out in Sanibel, Florida. And so that's where it all started. We both hired coaches and we learned everything that we could about triathlons. And I wanted to take that experience of being an older triathlete and documenting that in a blog. And that's what that blog's about. And now I'm a certified USA triathlon coach. So I'm also offering a lot of real substance and, education too in that blog. And the podcast, Hilary Topper on Air, which is what you're listening to right now. So that's all part of it.
So in the book, you kind of take us through, the history of public relations, and what else do you talk about specifically in the book?
So we talk about everything from building an ambassador program, what works, what doesn't, to blogs, how to write a blog, what format to use, um, how to create content, what makes good content. I also talk about each and individual social media site like Facebook, Instagram, LinkedIn, but I also include like Nextdoor, Quora, Reddit, Snapchat, TikTok, and I became
So many.
a TikTok. Yeah, I love it. I love TikTok. I also talk about photography and, podcasting and that type of thing. And then there's a whole big section on social media for nonprofit organizations, which is really kind of interesting because it just takes a little different take. And then last but not least, I talk about fake news, how to decipher what's real and what's not, and also wearable technology and the Internet of Things and how to, integrate that into your integrated marketing plan.
So what do you hope, when someone finishes reading your book, what do you hope they get from it?
I think if anybody reads the book, they're going to be able to make themselves stand out among their competition. They'll be able to really brand themselves in a way that will separate them from everyone else.
Awesome. So where can people purchase the book now?
So we've got a couple of different places. We're obviously on Amazon and barnesandnoble.com, but we also are selling the book on our own website. So if you want to order it through us, you can go to HJMT.com. They should be in a lot of the local bookstores. And if you don't see it in your local bookstore, then ask the program person or, whoever, or the salesperson at the specific Barnes and Noble or independent bookstore, that you're interested in a copy. And we do have a buyback policy on our books. So, a lot of bookstores like that. So, yeah.
Awesome. So one last question for you, Hal. Is this the last book we'll be seeing from you?
I don't know if you want to hear the answer to this one, Lisa. Well, I actually have another book in the works, and it's going to take triathlons and business and combine that. So that's going to be an interesting book, but I'll tell you a little bit more about it when it's all compiled. Yeah, so yeah. And again, like I think that the one thing, is that I love to speak, and I do teach at Hofstra, and if anybody's interested in having me speak at their group or association, I do travel. So I would love to do that.
Awesome. Well, congratulations on your second book. We really hope you guys will go pick up a copy. It's called Branding in a Digital World. You can search that on Google, or like Hilary said, you can go to hjmt.com, and there's a pop-up there where you can go and order the book directly from our website. Yeah, this is fun. Very cool.
Yeah,
Congrats.
thank you. Thank you. And yeah, thanks so much, Lisa. Thank you.